Have you ever been excited about a trip only to feel a little nervous as the date gets closer? Maybe you've noticed that traveling doesn't feel quite the same as it did when you were younger. You're not alone. Many of us over 70 still have that adventurous spirit, but we also know that our bodies and circumstances have changed over the years. And that's okay. The key is to be prepared so that we can enjoy our travels to the fullest without any unexpected surprises. That's why today, we're going to talk about something that's so important for seniors who love to explore the world, the hidden dangers of traveling after 70. Now, I know the word danger might sound a little dramatic, but these are things that many of us don't think about until we're already on the road. And trust me, being aware of them ahead of time can make all the difference between a trip that's smooth sailing and one that's, well, a little more challenging than we'd like. So in this video, we're going to cover 5 hidden dangers that every senior should know before their next trip. These aren't meant to scare you. Far from it. They're meant to empower you so you can travel with confidence and peace of mind. Whether you're planning a weekend getaway or a big international adventure, these tips will help you stay safe, healthy, and happy on the road. Let's start with the first hidden danger: overexertion and fatigue. Now, I know what you're thinking. Traveling has always been tiring, right? But here's the thing. As we get older, our energy levels just aren't what they used to be. What might have been a long but manageable day of sightseeing in our 50s can feel absolutely exhausting in our 70s. And when we push ourselves too hard, it doesn't just leave us feeling tired. It can also lead to injuries, weakened immunity, or even more serious health issues. Let me give you an example. A friend of mine, Linda, recently went on a cruise with her family. She was so excited to explore every port and join in on all the activities. But by the 3rd day, she was completely worn out. She ended up tripping on a cobblestone street and spraining her ankle, which put a real damper on the rest of her trip. Now, Linda's a smart woman, but she admitted that she didn't plan enough downtime into her schedule. She thought she could keep up with her grandkids, but her body had other ideas. So what's the takeaway here? It's all about pacing yourself. When you're planning your trip, build in plenty of rest time. Maybe that means scheduling a quiet afternoon after a busy morning of exploring, or choosing a hotel with a comfortable lounge where you can relax. And don't be afraid to say no to activities that feel like too much. Remember, this is your trip, and it's okay to prioritize your well-being. Now let's move on to the second hidden danger: medication management. This is one that doesn't always get the attention it deserves, but it's so important. If you're like many seniors, you probably take at least 1 or 2 medications regularly. And when you're traveling, keeping track of those medications can be a real challenge. Maybe you forget to take them because you're on a different schedule, or you run out because you didn't pack enough. Or worse, your medications get lost or stolen. I'll never forget the story of a gentleman named Tom who went on a road trip with his wife. They were having a great time until Tom realized he'd left his blood pressure medication at home. They were in a small town with no pharmacy nearby, and it took days to get a refill. By then, Tom was feeling awful, and it really put a strain on their trip. So, how can you avoid a situation like this? First, make a list of all the medications you take, including the dosages and the times you take them. Keep a copy of this list in your luggage and on your phone, just in case. Next, pack more medication than you think you'll need, enough to last a few extra days in case your trip gets extended. And finally, keep your medications in your carry-on bag, not your checked luggage. That way, they're always with you, no matter what. Now, before we move on to the next point, let's take a quick moment to reflect on what we've covered so far. Overexertion and medication management might not be the most glamorous topics, but they're absolutely essential for staying healthy and happy while traveling. And the good news is, with a little planning and awareness, you can easily avoid these pitfalls. So, what's next? Well, in the next part of our conversation, we'll dive into 2 more hidden dangers that every senior traveler should know about. These are things that can catch you off guard if you're not prepared. But don't worry, we'll talk about how to handle them like a pro. For now, though, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced overexertion or medication issues while traveling? Share your stories in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more tips and advice. After all, life is an adventure, and it's never too late to make the most of it. Now that we've talked about overexertion and medication management, let's move on to the next hidden danger: dehydration and poor nutrition. This one might not seem like a big deal at first, but trust me, it can really sneak up on you, especially when you're traveling. As we age, our bodies don't always signal thirst or hunger as effectively as they used to. Combine that with the excitement and busyness of travel, and it's easy to forget to drink enough water or eat properly. And when we're dehydrated or not eating well, it can lead to all sorts of problems: fatigue, dizziness, constipation, or even more serious issues like urinary tract infections or kidney problems. Let me share a quick story to illustrate this. A lovely woman named Margaret went on a guided tour of Europe last year. She was so caught up in the excitement of visiting new places and keeping up with the group that she barely drank any water throughout the day. By the time she got back to her hotel each evening, she was exhausted and had a pounding headache. It wasn't until halfway through the trip that she realized she'd been dehydrated the entire time. Once she started carrying a water bottle and sipping regularly, she felt so much better. But those first few days could have been avoided if she'd been more mindful from the start. So what's the solution? First, make hydration a priority. Carry a reusable water bottle with you and refill it throughout the day. If you're flying, drink plenty of water before, during, and after your flight, because airplane cabins can be incredibly dehydrating. And don't wait until you feel thirsty to drink by then. You're already a little dehydrated. As for nutrition, try to pack some healthy snacks like nuts, fruit, or granola bars for when you're on the go. And when you're dining out, aim for balanced meals with plenty of vegetables, lean protein, and whole grains. It's okay to indulge in local treats, of course, but try to keep your overall diet as nourishing as possible. Now, let's talk about the fourth hidden danger: travel scams and safety concerns. Unfortunately, seniors are often targeted by scammers, especially when traveling. Whether it's a fake taxi driver overcharging you, a pickpocket in a crowded market, or a too-good-to-be-true deal on a tour package. These situations can not only ruin your trip, but also put you in real danger. And let's face it, when we're in an unfamiliar place, it's easy to let our guard down. Take the example of my neighbor, George. He's a sharp guy, but when he was on vacation in a big city, he got caught up in a classic scam. A friendly stranger approached him, offering to help him find his way to a popular tourist attraction. Before George knew it, the stranger had distracted him while an accomplice swiped his wallet. George was left without his cash, credit cards, or ID, and it took days to sort everything out. It was a stressful experience that could have been avoided if he'd been a little more cautious. So, how can you protect yourself? First, do your research before you go. Learn about common scams in the area you're visiting and how to avoid them. Keep your valuables secure. Use a money belt or a crossbody bag with a zipper, and never carry more cash than you need. Be wary of strangers who seem overly friendly or eager to help, especially if they approach you in a crowded or touristy area. And if something feels off, trust your instincts. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Now, before we move on to the final point, let's take a moment to recap what we've covered so far. We've talked about the importance of pacing yourself to avoid overexertion, managing your medications carefully, staying hydrated and well-nourished, and being aware of travel scams and safety concerns. These might seem like small things, but they can have a big impact on your travel experience. And speaking of impact, the fifth and final hidden danger is one that's often overlooked, but can be just as important as the others. We'll dive into that in the next part of our conversation, so stay tuned. For now, though, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with dehydration or a travel scam while on the road? What did you learn from the experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I always love hearing your stories. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more tips and advice. After all, the world is waiting for you, and with a little preparation, you can explore it with confidence and joy. Now that we've covered overexertion, medication management, dehydration, and travel scams, let's dive into the fifth and final hidden danger of traveling after 70. Health emergencies and lack of preparedness. This is one of those things we all hope won't happen to us, but the truth is, it's always better to be prepared. Whether it's a sudden illness, a fall, or an unexpected medical condition, knowing what to do in an emergency can make all the difference. Let me share a story to illustrate this. A couple I know, Helen and Frank, were on a dream vacation in Italy when Frank suddenly experienced chest pain. They were in a small village, far from a major hospital, and neither of them spoke Italian. Thankfully, Helen had done her homework before the trip. She had travel insurance that covered medical emergencies, and she had the contact information for the nearest English-speaking doctor. Frank was able to get the care he needed, and they were able to continue their trip after a few days of rest. But Helen later admitted that if she hadn't been prepared, the situation could have been much more stressful, or even dangerous. So, how can you prepare for a health emergency while traveling? First, make sure you have comprehensive travel insurance that covers medical expenses, evacuation, and trip cancellations. It might seem like an extra expense, but trust me, it's worth every penny if something goes wrong. Next, research the healthcare options in the area you're visiting. Find out where the nearest hospital or clinic is and keep that information handy. If you have any chronic conditions, carry a summary of your medical history, including any medications you're taking and any allergies you have. And don't forget to pack a basic first aid kit with essentials like bandages, pain relievers, and any prescription medications you might need. Another important aspect of preparedness is communication. Make sure someone back home knows your travel itinerary and how to reach you in case of an emergency. It's also a good idea to have a list of emergency contacts, both at home and at your destination. And if you're traveling internationally, consider learning a few key phrases in the local language, like, "I need help," or "Where is the hospital?" It might seem like a small thing, but it can make a big difference in an emergency. Now that we've covered all 5 hidden dangers, let's take a moment to recap. We've talked about the importance of pacing yourself to avoid overexertion, managing your medications carefully, staying hydrated and well-nourished, being aware of travel scams, and preparing for health emergencies. These might seem like a lot to think about, but the good news is, with a little planning and awareness, you can avoid these pitfalls and enjoy your travels to the fullest. Remember, traveling after 70 isn't about limiting yourself. It's about being smart and proactive so you can make the most of every adventure. Whether you're exploring a new city, relaxing on a beach, or visiting loved ones, these tips will help you stay safe, healthy, and happy on the road. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever faced a health emergency while traveling? What steps did you take to handle it? Or maybe you have some tips of your own to share. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. Your experiences and insights could help someone else have a safer, more enjoyable trip. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more tips and advice. Life is an adventure, and it's never too late to explore the world with confidence and joy. Here's to living your best life at any age. Happy travels!